Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. For the next 10 to 15 minutes, we're going to explore one of the most foundational aspects of child development, nutrition. What and how children eat shapes not only their physical growth, but their lifelong habits, health outcomes, and cognitive abilities. In this presentation, we're going to focus on four different topics: why nutrition is important, what the requirements for nutrition are in the children ages 1 to 18, how culture and religion can influence a child's diet and relationship with food, and what we can do about the obesity epidemic in America. So, why should you actually care about childhood nutrition? Well, according to The Developing Person Through Childhood and Adolescence by Kathleen Berger, early childhood is marked by rapid physical and brain development. Proper nutrition during this stage is both experience expectant, biologically anticipated, and experience dependent, meaning shaped by the environment. Good nutrition supports muscle growth, immune system function, and brain myelination. Myelination is a process where myelin wraps around nerve fibers in the brain, speeding up signal transmissions and improving motor skills, sensory abilities, and cognitive function. Conversely, poor nutrition leads to stunted growth, cognitive delays, and increased disease risk. Okay, so to summarize this chart that you're seeing, the American Heart Association, or the AHA, recommends the following for children over age of 2: fruits and vegetables, at least 5 servings daily, which that serving size does depend on the age of the child, whole grains, lean protein, healthy fat, limited added sugars to less than 25 grams per day, less than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day, and the data for dairy is listed as fat-free milk. It is suggested that also half of the grain consumption should be whole grains like whole wheat, rice, millet, barley, or oats. Protein in this chart refers to lean meat and beans, and also keep in mind that more calories and portion sizes should be added if the child is very physically active. A good rule of thumb for this is 0 to 200 kilocalories added per day for moderate activity, and about 200 to 400 kilocalories added for very active children. The emphasis here is on nutrient-dense foods, not calorie-dense ones. This supports heart health and reduces the risk of obesity later in life. Cultural and religious influences. Food culture greatly affects a child's diet. Opolinsky et al. Observed that religious communities often link food with tradition, and while this can encourage family meals and food gratitude, it can also mean high fat, high sugar celebrations. So this can include things like Christmas cookies, Diwali sweets, Eid pastries, and Hanukkah donuts, all of which are culturally rich but often very sugar laden. Opolinsky spoke very in depth about how faith-based dietary practices influence food choices, mealtime behaviors, and perceptions of body image from early childhood. McKay et al. Studied Indian mothers in Australia and found cultural adaptations often led to decreased nutrition quality. For instance, replacing the traditional Indian lentil-based meals with Australian fast foods due to time constraints. In their report, they explained how, quote, cultural identity and convenience often intersect, leading to a substitution of nutrient-rich meals with processed or fast foods, end quote. These examples show the nutrition education must be culturally sensitive in order to be effective. Knowledge gaps among caregivers. So caregivers are crucial to nutrition outcomes. We're going to talk about this a little bit later as well. But a 2023 study in Nepal by M. Aberharini found that many caregivers lacked understanding of proper nutrient timing, particularly the importance of iron and protein in children under 2. This can lead to malnutrition even when food quantity is sufficient. We have to support caregivers through accessible and practical education tailored to their socio-cultural context. According to the CDC, nearly 1 in 5 U.S. children ages 2 to 19 are obese. Rates are higher among children from low income or rural areas. The CDC put out a statement that read, from 2017 to March 2020, the prevalence of obesity among U.S. children and adolescents was 19.7%. This means that approximately 14.7 million U.S. youths ages 2 to 19 years old have obesity. Combining cultural traditions or norms with the poor food access is what causes that great risk for obese children. Hajjem Zalfainam noted that in rural communities, cultural food traditions and limited access to fresh produce significantly contribute to obesity. Additionally, children are often praised for having like a healthy appetite, even when they are overeating. These environments make it difficult for children to recognize their own true hunger cues, leading to lifelong habits of overeating. The cost of childhood obesity goes beyond health. A University of Michigan study by Davis showed that preventing obesity saves millions in long-term healthcare costs, lost productivity, and early mortality. Obesity-related healthcare costs in the US is over $14 billion annually just for children. Like I said before, child obesity not only leads to long-term health issues, but it also causes that early mortality rate. We can tip the scales by investing in school lunch programs, nutrition education, and community health initiatives like after-school physical activity programs, community or school gardens, mobile markets, cooking classes, and health screenings. So the role of parents and communities, going back to this idea of caregivers being crucial to nutrition outcomes, as I explained earlier, a 2023 study in Nepal by M. Aberharini found that many caregivers lacked understanding of proper nutrient timing, particularly to the importance of iron and protein for children under the age of 2, which can lead to malnutrition even when food quantity is sufficient. But according to Berger, children often consume high-calorie foods with little to nutritional value, like sugary drinks and processed snacks, leaving their actual nutritional needs completely unmet. The most common micronutrient deficiencies come from a lack of iron, calcium, or zinc. Iron is important for brain development, calcium for bone strength, and zinc for immune functions. As parents or communities, we should encourage family meals, cooking at home, and involving children in our meal prep, as well as teaching others about nutrition and healthy habits around mealtime and surrounding that mealtime. I love this quote by the AHA or American Heart Association saying that family food habits are among the strongest predictors of healthy outcomes. Overall, childhood nutrition is a shared responsibility. It is not only shaped by biology, but also by culture, economics, and education that we are performing and handing out. The right food at the right time can support a lifetime of well-being. So we should advocate for better systems, smarter policies, and stronger support for families and children. I hope that you learned something new. Feel free to email me if you have any questions at all. The next slides will just be my citations on where I found my information. Thank you for listening.